Admiral Black, long-range scans show a large fleet of ships entering the solar system, reported the sensor officer. The configuration matches Krith warships. Admiral Henry Black set his coffee mug down sharply. After years of tension, the amphibious Krith hegemony had finally made their move. "Are you positive they're Krith military vessels?" he asked. The officer nodded. "Yes, sir. We're detecting multiple cruiser-weight mass signatures plus dozens of lighter assault craft." Black tapped his fingers on the fleet command table, showing the alien ships advancing through the asteroid belt. The Krith were expanding rapidly, conquering or annexing every new race they encountered among the stars. It was likely only a matter of time before their battle fleet arrived at humanity's doorstep. And that day appeared to have come. "How long until they reach Mars' orbit if they maintain current velocity?" Black asked. His aide ran some quick calculations. "Approximately 38 hours, Admiral." So he had less than 2 days to prepare his forces before the Krith invasion fleet arrived, cutting it damn close for Black's taste. Ever since mankind had begun settling the other planets in the solar system, military experts knew this day would come. Now it fell to Black and Battlefleet Solar to defend humanity's interplanetary civilization against the rapacious aliens. Fortunately, human scientists had recently provided him the tools to even the odds against the Krith's numerical superiority. "Go to battle stations and stand by for further orders," Black commanded. "It's time we introduced our slimy friends to the new laws of gravitational warfare." While the Krith hegemony ships closed on Mars, Black repositioned his own strike fleet in concealed positions around the edges of the solar system. Tests of the prototype gravitational anomaly generators had been extremely promising thus far. If they performed as expected in actual combat, they would more than compensate for his force's relative lack of ships. Black intended to put that theory to the test today. When the Krith crossed into extreme Mars orbit, he made his move. "All ships, initiate Operation Hammerfall," Black ordered. "Target the lead Krith vessels with gravitational shear waves on my mark." One by one, the human ships revealed themselves from behind icy planetoids and shimmering electronic decoys. As their stealth systems deactivated, gravitic emitters came online, flooding local space with tightly modulated gravity waves. The very fabric of space-time warped and stretched around the Krith ships, subjecting them to sudden tidally induced shear forces. Their plates buckled and split along barely perceptible seams as the intense gravity gradients tried to literally pull the ship's superstructures apart. At least 8 Krith cruisers broke into segments, their twisted wreckage leaking fluids and bodies into the cold vacuum. But the Krith were nothing if not resilient. The remaining capital ships launched swarms of assault skimmers even as they returned fire on the suddenly materialized human fleet. White-hot beams slashed across space, threatening to overwhelm the relatively primitive point defense systems shielding Black ships. However, the alien weapons fire passed harmlessly through the space the human vessels had occupied mere seconds before. As soon as Black's force reappeared, gravitic emitters activated their secondary function, fluctuating the local gravitational gradient to produce a shifting, chaotic microenvironment insulating the ships. By dynamically altering their apparent position and vector, they presented a virtually impossible targeting solution for Krith weapons. Unfortunately, the chaotic gravity fields took an immense toll on emitter systems not designed for continuous use. Automatic cutoffs triggered across the fleet to avoid catastrophic overheating and burnout. As the gravity bubble surrounding his command ship collapsed, Black found his screens overwhelmed by swarms of Krith assault skimmers, looping in to attack with laser clusters and plasma charges. "We've got multiple breach warnings along the port ventral hull," his damage control officer reported over the din of impacts, taking fire from all quadrants. The ship shuddered under the sustained pounding as Black rapidly evaluated his options. The prototype generators needed time to reset for another gravitational attack on the Krith fleet, but at the current rate of damage, his own task force would be annihilated first. He opened an encrypted laser comm channel. "All ships, break contact and withdrawal to rally point Zeta on your discretion. We've hurt them badly, but can't take this level of assault." Through the viewports, He watched his battered destroyers and frigates angle toward deep space, smashing through the encircling attack ships with last bursts from their secondary batteries, even as they accelerated away from the battle zone. Navigation. Plot us an escape vector once our shields reach critical, Black ordered. We'll have to take the hits until the weapon systems come back online. Alarms blared as more plasma bolts hammered through the multi-layered shields to gouge the armored hull beneath. Outgunned and outnumbered, Black's flagship and her few remaining escorts had no options left but to turn and run from the Krith juggernaut. Minutes crawled by, each barrage eroding the flagship's shields asymptotically closer to collapse. Black was on the verge of ordering final weapons releases and evacuation when the deck abruptly stabilized under his feet. Gravitic systems back online, reported his assistant. Emitters resynced and projecting local gravity field. On the tactical display, the Krith assault skimmers wavered in their attack runs, compensating for the altered spatial distortions radiating from the human ships. Target the remaining Krith capital ships with all functional emitters, Black said swiftly. Full power gravity shear. Let's take some more of the bastards with us. As his ships swung ponderously back toward the Krith fleet, Black watched gravity waves ripple out, perceivable only by their effects on surrounding objects. The alien cruisers and remaining supercarrier were subjected to the gravitational potential of a localized black hole. Such sudden quadrupled stress, even spread across the kilometer-plus lengths of the vessels, was too much for even Krith structural engineering to withstand. Hull segments twisted and snapped free, venting frozen oxygen clouds as entire gunnery decks tore open to space. The dreadnought's spine split nearly in two before secondary explosions from its antimatter storage rings blew the ship apart. Debris scattered outward in a slowly expanding sphere, flashing intermittently as secondary detonations consumed fragmentation clusters. Of the original 80-plus Krith capital ships, less than 20 remained, most badly damaged leaking fluids and atmosphere. But the exertion had once again taken a devastating toll on the human grav emitter arrays. Burnt out past recovery, the Victory had left Battlefleet Solar virtually helpless as well. Black slumped warily in his command chair as reports of system damage and crew casualties filtered in from across the fleet. But despite the cost, they had beaten back the Krith invasion fleet from the very doorstep of humanity's home system. When news spread of this victory, it would surely give pause to other expansionistic alien races across the galaxy. And once the gravity manipulation technology was perfected, no enemy would be able to challenge human dominion of space ever again. Glancing at the spreading debris cloud marring the starfield ahead, Black suspected that day might not be too far off after all. For now, though, it was time to gather up the survivors and lead his battered ships home. Wherever the Krith went next, it wouldn't be toward Earth or her interplanetary colonies. Not for a long while, at the very least. Black allowed himself a predatory smile at the thought. Today would go down in history as the day humanity turned the fundamental forces of spacetime into weapons of war on a cosmic scale. A feat that would murmur through the galaxy in legend and myth for civilizations to come.